Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we thought we would film a little bit of the untold story of our labor and delivery and just how it all went down. I realized when I was editing the footage of that we did get from the birth and all that surrounded that there was some fun parts that we really missed out on sharing.
I'm not a good vlogger, let's just put it that way.
Well, that 1 hour of labor, we didn't film it all. So
yeah. That
is what it is. Sorry about that, but it worked out.
It was too dramatic.
It wasn't dramatic. We were just honestly, we were having a lot of fun. We were probably having too much fun.
I think so.
And there was just a lot, there's a lot of people in the room and we hadn't really just told them, hey, we're going to vlog this. So we just didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, Seth, are you joining us?
So if you haven't noticed, again, this just turned out to be a really good trick. We can film in the car.
Yeah, the car is not moving.
Yes, yeah.
We're sitting in our driveway, but it's quieter here and the lighting's pretty good. Are you going to stay happy?
I don't know about this.
All right, I just went and gave the baby to my mom. My dad actually just got in town, but he hadn't met Seth yet, so they're gonna watch him for a second. So obviously that day, we had no idea that we would have to have a baby that day. And so once I got to the doctor's office, it became obvious that he wasn't gonna let me go far, but he was kind of giving me the choice. He's like, this is not super urgent, but I don't want it to go more than a few days. So I kind of left it in his hands, Solo's hands to decide, because I didn't really have anything, and he was thinking maybe if we're gonna do it, let's just
might as well do it. The earlier the better, I guess. If it was on if it made no difference whatsoever. Yeah. So
we went into that evening, and it's one of the craziest evenings of our week, and especially in the season, preparing for Christmas stuff and all that. Oh, we just have a lot of
church. Yeah.
And so and then my mom, I had to be at the airport, all this stuff. So we went kind of our separate ways, thinking that it would be the next day, late the next day. So late in the day. So we just weren't we weren't in that mindset that I might have a baby that night. And I don't know what changed my doctor's mind. He was having me texting my blood pressures every hour, and he just didn't like what he was seeing, I guess. So anyway, what did you think about me going there without even telling you?
Well, sometimes I didn't have any chance to think, let alone.
Would you rather have been interrupted? Like, hey,
no, I guess if it was like you're going in labor by yourself,
I would have interrupted.
Yeah, so I just figured, I think I've done this, been around the block a few times.
You weren't annoyed that you found out that I was already there?
No, that's all right, because I figured you had to do a lot of more paperwork than anything.
See, he knows all the paperwork. So how did Heather tell you afterward?
So I'm just about to finish my class, and she's on the other side of the room. And then the moment I ended, she went like this. I'm like, are you telling me to leave right now? She goes, yes, leave right now. And so
funny.
And she goes, I'll take your kids home. So
I had already texted my friend and told her that we were probably having a baby the next day. So then when they're in class, I wrote her and I said, my doctor's making me go in tonight and I need to leave soon.
But there was a problem.
But I don't want to distract Solo. Can you just let him know right afterward? And I sent that text message to my doctor, not my friend. Because we had been texting, I'd been texting my doctor a lot. And so I realized it almost right away. So I'm writing back, I'm like, I'm sorry, that was meant for my friend who's teaching with Solo right now. And he's like, I'm making you go in, with a laughy face. And I wrote back, I'm like, yeah, you're making me. I certainly wouldn't have just picked that on my own. And so he wrote me back, he's like, pregnant women, with a rolling the eye face. And I told him, yes, we get a little snarky. He has a lot of children himself, and he's funny and he's laid back. So anyway, I couldn't believe I did that. I was thankful I didn't say anything too snarky.
It's crazy doctor.
My crazy doctor.
He's a good guy.
He is a good guy. Okay, so another thing that we didn't mention is I didn't even really know, but when my doctor came and broke my water, one strange thing that happened, this I did know, is he could not he couldn't break it easily, and he would have been able to earlier that day. But he told me 5 days later, when I was just getting a weight check for the baby at the office, that he said, I am pretty sure that baby would have turned if we hadn't delivered that night. So it worked out really well because he was so high. In fact, he was so high that when my doctor finally was able to break my water, he had a nurse like sitting on my stomach almost. She was leaning on it, putting so much pressure to hold the baby down while he let the bag of water drain. And he said when he broke my water that he felt a face. And then a face presentation is an automatic C-section usually. And so he didn't tell me that at the time. I knew that he was having a lot of trouble. But he just said that baby was in the strangest position. And it's funny because a few weeks ago, the ultrasound is the same words that the ultrasound tech used. She's like, this baby is in a really strange position. He was able to maneuver the baby into the correct position between him and a nurse, but they were both like putting so much pressure on my belly and moving him around. And then he also told me that the baby was like sunny side up, and I thought he was born that way, and he said he actually turned him around to deliver him, and then if he hadn't, I would have been pushing for a lot longer. So that was kind of crazy too. Kind of weird, but thankfully he was able to turn him. Anyway, that was the most. That was the
nick of time. At the nick of time.
Yes, it really worked out. I would have hated it if he would have turned back around and gone breech again, but he was riding high that afternoon. It was really weird not to have any pain the whole labor. I kept saying it over and over, like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was weird.
Too. Yeah, I'm the only one who hurt. Yeah, in that one.
I did have pain at the end, but it was good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't horrible. But usually I'm like so out of it. It's almost like you go out of your body experience. It's so difficult. Like because I do my whole labor in such a short period of time. There's very little breaks in between. In fact, I've listened to a lot of birth stories, and a lot of women who have had both long and short labors say they prefer their longer ones, which is interesting. I can't speak to that because I've never had a longer one, but they are intense, my labors. And so to have this that I just felt like present the whole time, and I knew what was going on, and I was able to just deliver the baby myself, help deliver. That was so cool.
Yeah, no, it was strange. In fact, I kept saying throughout the whole thing, it's like, man, this is so different because the atmosphere was just a lot. It was just weird. I'm like, do all the women who get epidural? I can't even say it though. But this is well, you've tried it before though, that it never worked.
But it was always like it just at the end.
At the end, so
yeah.
So this was good judgment, and it all worked out really good. It just seemed a lot different than the normal.
It was a lot. You don't like it when I'm in pain anyway, so I'm sure you didn't mind.
So that was not bad.
One funny thing is after I got to the room. By the way, I could walk to the room. I felt great.
Yeah.
Even with, like, as soon as that pain medication wore off, I was just like, okay. But when we got in our, like, postpartum room, the nurses came in and they're, like, giving us their whole spiel. And they're like, don't let any sick people around this baby. We just started laughing at her because
like, have you seen us yet?
Yeah. We're the sickest people we know right now.
I know. The timing of that could have been better.
That's why I really didn't want to have a baby. But I'm still sick, and it's been a week now, so when we're filming this. So
I've never been this sick in my life in terms of
how long it's lasted.
Yeah, how long it's lasted.
So now we've both been on antibiotics. I've been on extra antibiotics. I'm on a steroid inhaler and a rescue inhaler, and my doctor told me it could be a month of using those inhalers because it was weird. So bad. Yeah.
It's so strange.
It's so strange. And then it's weird to be sick when you have a baby. So the nurse was actually calling in the student nurse to listen to my lungs because they never have people that sound so bad in their lungs on that floor. So it was just like, sure, call them on in, tell them to listen. But I have so much wheezing down way low and bronchi and everything. Oh, it's bad. Because I felt so bad, I really wanted to go home really early. And so when the doctor came in the next day, I asked him, it was like 12 hours after giving birth, and I asked him if I could just please go home. I just don't feel good. And that hospital air was just not helping.
So dry.
So dry. And so he said, I would let you, but you had a high blood pressure this morning. I did have one high one that morning. And so he's like, if it goes up higher, then you end up in the ER, and then you pick up other germs, and you're with a newborn, and because you can't just walk back into postpartum. And so that's why we went ahead and stayed that next night, because I thought, I don't want to be in the ER either. So
Sure.
I'll just take I just did the more conservative route, I guess, and just stayed. So
Yeah.
anyway, other than that, everything went really smoothly. I think if we hadn't been sick, we'd have even nothing to talk about, because that was the only weird, strange part that happened with this baby. So you still happy with his name?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I knew his name all along. I just never told him.
you
No,
just
it's a lie. Well, both names were on there, but just we never thought of them together.
Oh, Seth and Solomon?
Yeah.
Did we think about Solomon? Oh, we thought about it for a middle name a few times. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think a lot of it had to do with the combination. There's one or two names that we could have landed on, but the middle name that just wasn't.
Yeah. So then when you're questioning, you wonder, is there some name we hadn't thought about yet? So that's why we were like asking people and looking it up. Like,
it definitely was a record this time.
Yeah, it was. I didn't like that.
11.5 hours, and the pressure was on.
And we even knew the sex of the baby. Like, why did it take us that long?
Can you imagine if we didn't?
Yeah, we would have been in big trouble. But it worked out. He's doing great. Everybody's doing great. And we are getting healthier. You're getting healthier, aren't you?
Much better, yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this whole birth story and what we did record. And we'll talk to you soon.
See you guys.
Bye.